Welcome to our Poke the Brain on the Stick series with Willie Petershaw and his special guest, Brent Reed, a Disciplined Agile Partner, Practitioner, Instructor, Scrum Master, and Enterprise DevOps Architect, from Victoria, British Columbia.
So who's Brent?
Who am I? Yeah, that's a good question. First of all, I'm a Canadian born in Canada. I think I'm a fairly social guy. I like to compose music and get together with friends and play games and stuff, board games and various things with strategy in mind. So I think I'm a fairly social person. In terms of upbringing and how I came about into this field, I think long and short of it is I grew up in a very small town in northern BC, and I was always fascinated by computers. And at a very young age, my dad bought me a very small Z80 processor-based computer, and just got me hooked. And I love coding, and I loved all aspects of the science behind computing and everything else. So that just kind of led me on a path of and a career of working with technology. Lucky enough to always work with the latest technology, and so with that, I've moved, across the globe in at least 5 different countries I've lived in, and I've worked in over 22 plus different countries. So I've been really lucky that way. So that's me. I'm married with a wife, and we love Victoria.
The Z80 definitely brings some memories back in my life as well. But this chat is obviously about you. So what is life like in Victoria, which is across the pond from Vancouver?
Absolutely, yes. Which has, its own unique challenges, especially when the weather is not cooperating. There's not a bridge. There's only ferries or planes or helicopters. Life in Victoria is great. It is quite a bit different than living in the big cities, such as Hong Kong or just on the outskirts of London, when we were in Windsor, or in Madrid, Spain. They're all wonderful. But the nice thing about Victoria is it kind of brings me back to my roots in BC. I attended school many years ago, grade 1 and 2. In Mill Bay, so it's great, and I think the tech community here is really prospering, really growing. It's well recognized, I think, now in Western North America as the place to kind of do your startups and to grow, and so it's great that way. There's lots of different types of foods, and I think there's a big movement about green here as well, from not only an environment perspective, but I think also in terms of people trying to eat more healthy and things like that as well. I know that's in lots of places, but I find Victoria kind of focuses a lot on that, which is really cool. So it's a nice change from the typical cities where you see the same shops, the same name brands everywhere, and see a lot of mom and pop shops, all over the place, which is really good.
Now to poke your brain. What is disciplined DevOps?
It's a good question. So I think in a nutshell, really, it's looking at the moving away from, I would say, development and operational performance, which DevOps is definitely the focus of, and why, a big chunk of why it came about, to organizational performance. And I say away from, it's actually it's not in the sense that it's different of moving away. It's the sense of we're kind of maturing and connecting across the organization to include parts of the organization who people wouldn't necessarily think of when they think of DevOps right away, like HR and finance, so other lines of business. So it's not just the service delivery elements of your IT department, but it's connected completely across the business to reach right out to your stakeholders externally, which can be your partners and your customers who you want to delight. In order to bring value to them, organizational performance is key. And I think the fact that companies today have to move at such a pace and high expectations from not only their stakeholders, but the users and clients of their services and products, the organization performance is super, super important now to stay relevant.
So if we analyze the DevOps DNA, what would we find? Where does DevOps come from, but how does it tie back to disciplined DevOps?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. And I think everyone has their own probably perception or would see different things in the DNA. I think for me, I see two key components. I see SDLC, so the software development lifecycle, in there hugely. And I also see ITIL or ITIL, depending where you come from. The two of them are that need for good discipline and governance, the need to recognize that there is a process and tools and technologies and maybe a little bit of framework behind it. But I think underpinning it is that and of SDLC and ITIL. Now, of course, we've got RUP, so the rational, unified process, the RAD processes that came about, from the 70s and 80s, were there to start to improve the cycle and time, release times, and things like that of software, and not just that quality. But also the frustration of those in the business and the design and development side of IT not able to operationalize in the speed that they were expected because of various hurdles and challenges that exist in the ops folks. So kind of moving away from the traditional way, you start to see that the DNA, of DevOps is that the leaning out, the automation, all those other good things are starting to come out of that SDLC and ITIL kind of ways of working, if that makes sense.
And if we look at it as DNA, there's obviously an evolution happening. So I guess the next question is, what comes after DevOps?
I don't know if it's a trick question. And the reason why I say that is because I think, if we look at much of the rhetoric out there and what I firmly believe, not only for myself personally, but in what DevOps can do, is the continuous improvement aspect. So when we think about continuous improvement, what comes after DevOps? Better DevOps. I think more connected. I think something that is built into the DNA of the organization, so to speak, so that the operational performances are continually improving. And so the next, step of DevOps is that the maturing and really linking it into operational performance. And then, of course, there's going to be better technologies that come out to facilitate that, to be the enablers. But I think what comes after DevOps really is we as individuals, we as participants in the process and working together and collaborating as human beings, we should get better as well. So I think in the DevOps side, yes, there's the development operational, there's the organizational benefits, but I think we as individuals should get better. And so what comes after DevOps? I think better people, better code, better software, better solutions, and happier clients.
Yeah, and it's that, as we always say, that's that journey without a destination, i.e. it's, as you said, the continuous innovation, continuous improvements.
Absolutely, yeah.
It was definitely not a trick question, but it's something that's keeping me up at night because, as you say, it's continuous. So after DevOps should really be the improved DevOps. So yeah, maybe you're right.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit of a struggle there. The struggle, well, there's lots, and we've talked about that before, about poking the hornet's nest. I think one of the things that I'm seeing, and it came about from a discussion I had the other day with Mark Lyons, there is this propensity for marketing and people trying to turn really good ideas, concepts, processes, technology, whatever, and turn it into just a money-making thing. And so we run the risk of DevOps in name only. So Dino or Dino, Agile in name only. So I think what comes after DevOps is a little bit of a pushback to those that are just throwing out these terms and saying, "Oh, we're doing DevOps, we're doing Agile, we're doing this, we're doing that," and they bought some tool technology, or they maybe have a consultancy firm that's talking about it and actually not really following the direction of what DevOps really is from a people process, first of all, point of view. And then therefore the technologies don't match up. But I think there's a struggle coming on. And I think the struggle is that the name only, the DevOps in name only potentially is something that's going to come up as well.
So lastly, what's your favorite dessert?
So that's a tough one because I like desserts. Unfortunately, there's always a cost and benefit. The cost is you have to maybe go on a bit of a diet after having too many desserts. But I love desserts. I think my favorite dessert it's a toss up. I would say between something simple like vanilla ice cream and something a little bit more complex, not super complex, like coconut cream pie or something. But I like them. I think one because of childhood memories. But I would say if I had to choose, someone just give me something simple. Vanilla ice cream's awesome.
Great. I'll remember that for our next meetup.
Great.
Talking about meetup, do you want to make a shout out for your next one in Victoria?
Yeah, this is our meetup actually. And thanks to you for being part of this and connecting us also perhaps with those across the pond, as you say. The next meetup is really going to be exciting because I think it's one of several meetups over 2019. I think that is going to poke the hornet's nest. And the first way we're going to poke the hornet's nest a little bit is talk about a manifesto for DevOps. And I like the direction that you've been going, Willie, and it just syncs up nicely with the mindset. So this is a focus on a manifesto for the mindset of DevOps. And I don't see it something that's written in stone. It's designed it should be like anything, to be updated and continually improve if necessary and where necessary. Not just for the sake of it, but if it makes sense. The meetup is on January, 22nd. Looking forward to co-hosting that with you. We have, a dozen plus people so far said they'll be there. I think there's a lot of excitement about it. Actually, I've heard from the community here, there's a lot of excitement. So looking forward to that. And of course, feedback from our colleagues, the Rangers and others who you are going to be sending this out.
Thanks very much, Brent, for your time. I wish you a happy, successful, joyous 2019 and see you next year.
Absolutely. Look forward to it and have a safe New Year's, of course, and look forward to seeing you as well.
Thanks everyone for listening, and goodbye.